So I've been, is this, you can hear me okay? Yeah. I've been told we should use the mic even though I have a big mouth because of the reverberation. But I can't think of a better place to be with all things being holy and poetry being sacred to all of us. But still, we worship as we will, and we worship the spoken word and the written word. Thank you, LitFest and the Dena. Thank you, Natalie Leidick. Thank you, Russell Mark. Thank you, everybody who has organized this and brought us here today. And thank you all for being here. And thank you especially to the contributors that are here today. So I'm not going to talk too much because I'll be talking between people. So I'm just going to stop talking and bring up my co-editor, Richard Modiano, to say a few words.
Thank you, S.A. Thank you all for being here today. This anthology is intended to bring community together and to heal. And it goes through a process that hopefully will result in that effect. And I should say that S.A. will tell you how this came about, but he was the man who actually brought it into existence. The inspiration for it came from other sources, and S.A. will go into that, but he is the man that brought it and made it a reality, a physical object that we can hold in our hands and take with us, that can be placed in libraries, that is for the sake of posterity, and that will preserve the memory of what is documented in this book. And I came in toward the end of the process. There were some, about maybe a third of the submissions were passed by me. I looked over the other ones. I solicited blurbs, and one of the significant blurbs that I got was from John Bellamy Foster, who is the author of The Imperiled Planet, The Ecological Rift, The Return of Nature, and his current book is called The Dialectics of Ecology. And this man is not a poet. It's easier to get a blurb for a poetry book from another poet, and in fact, I was able to get one from Margaret Randall, who took one look at the cover when I sent her the PDF of the book. She saw the cover, and she spent the entire day reading the book from beginning to end and gave me the blurb by the end of the day. So that's how powerful this book is. And I want to read to you John Bellamy Foster's blurb because it contextualizes the whole event. As the whole world watched, Los Angeles residents at late January and early February 2025 saw walls of fire rapidly descending on the city, their homes and their lives, propelled by winds of 100 miles an hour or more. The poems in this volume reach deep into this horrendous experience and at the same time help us rediscover our common humanity in the face of the socially generated ecological rupture that distinguishes our time. I found myself reading the poems and catching fire again and again, recognizing that what I was experiencing through the miracle of art was something historically universal, to be held onto and remembered. People caught in a climate crisis Pompeii, as Susan Auerbach put it. The book ends with a call to rebuild, but the message is clear. What needs to be rebuilt are not simply the homes lost in Los Angeles, but our entire social relationship to the earth and to each other. Here, there is hope. And what I liked about this blurb was that he talked about the healing that is inherent in here and the miracle of art to bring people together. So without further ado, S.A. will come up and make some further remarks.
Nope, not there. So indeed, the point to this book hopefully is community and healing. One of the reasons I thought that this was the perfect venue for the book, besides the fact that we are here. And I think you all understand that. The genesis of the book was a phone call to New York, or from New York, from Cat George's, a very old friend of mine. Her and her husband, Peter Karloftis, run Three Rooms Press in New York, and she was checking in. She's originally from Southern California, checking in to see how we were doing. And during the course of the conversation, she said you've been talking to Puma Pearl, poet in New York, and Puma had told her that Nika Ray, originally from Southern California, was devastated watching on television as her hometown was just turning to ash. And I hung up the phone, and it immediately occurred to me that I had to do this. And thank you, Richard, for everything that you've contributed to this book. And all that being said, let's move on, because as you heard her name intoned here in Richard's introduction, please show your love for Susan Auerbach.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you to SA and Richard for making this collection possible, and I'm honored to be part of it with other contributors here today. And I want to thank you all for being willing to kind of revisit some of what people went through over a year ago. Maybe some of you are some of those people. It's not always easy to look back at those things, but hopefully today will be a restorative way of looking back at all of that. Dateline Pasadena, California, January 2025. Overnight, my hometown blazes apocalyptic on phones around the world. I cannot follow how the tyrant floods the zone, but I must read every update on this fire. The dead, blessedly few. The containment, so slow to reach 5%. The heroes or madmen who stayed behind wielding hoses. Each day on the county damage map, little red houses mushroom like Monopoly pieces on a winning board, except we are losing 6,000 buildings, 8,000, 9,000 more. I drive by flattened streets, all rubble and ash. I think of Rafah, Mariupol. I'm displaced for weeks, others for months, how the years drag on for refugees. So many neighbors suddenly homeless. Will some wander the city with shopping carts? This is our nuclear winter, our climate crisis Pompeii. A hawk and a helicopter circle the burn zone, hunting. We all live inside the news now.
The next person with her husband is now creating a series of events. What are they called? What's the name of the event? Poet Film Stage, which indeed it is. And we will be there tonight at Beyond Baroque. Yes. And it sounds and sees even better. So we'll all be there tonight if you guys want to rock out to that. But anyway, Kathleen and Rich recently got married. You're kind of still newlyweds, about and I officiated. Yes, I did. I officiated. Thank you. They're with their daughter, Evelyn, and it was a beautiful, wonderful thing. So anyway, and Kathleen is now a citizen of the United States, correct? Oh, but you're close to it. Closer than you ever were. Anyway, a wonderful writer, a wonderful person. Please show your love for Kathleen Florence.
What was waiting at the front door? Bags stuffed with papers, passports, tax returns, medications, laptops, iPad, chargers tangled up. That jacket I only wore once, I swear. I'll wear it again some night when hell isn't hovering blocks away, just north of here in what will be known as the Sunset Fire. North, in both directions, panic-painted nightmares hang in every room. No one is sleeping, every hour checking screens, making calls, scanning from rooftops. beneath bone-shattered skies with each other, and these few bags at the door, waiting.
One day, I was walking down the street with a friend of mine I'd known about 10 years, and he said, "I thought I saw you on TV last night." I said, "You probably did." He said, "Well, why didn't you tell me what you do?" I said, "Do you tell me what you do?" Got him. So there's a few people in this room I have a deep connection with, specifically Dig and Harry, because of we've spent our lives in the entertainment business and as poets. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce the next person. Presently, I mean, Harry has done so much for everybody over the years, so much. He's such a great lover of all things, life, the spoken word, film, the written word. I mean, he really is. And you've done, what, 200 and how many shows have you done now of a Harry's Poetry Hour? Almost 300. And he does these at the Motion Picture Retirement Home, and he has different people come on and they read poetry, they discuss poetry. It's a monumental undertaking. And Harry, I have so much respect for you. Please show your love for Harry Northup.
Thank you, S.A. and Richard. Every time I'm with my fellow poets, I feel like I'm in a church on my knees praying. So thank you, church. You took us to church. You're the one. A drive along the coast. Well, first I want to thank S.A. and Richard for editing this marvelous anthology, and for all the poets with whom I respect and love their poetry who are in it, so thank you. A drive along the coast. In a dry age, fires came. The coast is clear. We made love on Broad Beach. She tried to steal my ex-wife's jade necklace. Winds were in a religious fervor. Even though the white, clean body has gone, its ghost surfs north of the Malibu Pier, where it learned to surf. The long row of beachfront houses burned down. Once the envy and the beauty visited, to live once against the rebounding waves. In the age of dryness, the phrase, "It behooves you to serve," was first heard by a young sailor dressed in whites with 2 black stripes on his sleeve. Even in a self-absorbed age, a man reaches out with minimum water. Even when there's no response, he reaches out with water. Thank you.
Yeah, Harry was a very early champion of mine, booked me on some of my first readings in LA. I really do love you, Harry. Thank you very much. Thank you for being a part of this. The next person I'd like to bring up is the co-editor. Richard is, again, I'm wearing this out, but I always introduce him as the smartest guy in the room because he remembers everything. He's a student of life. He's a student of history, literature, film, and he will gladly get into a deep discussion with you about these things and more, current events, which we go over constantly. Please show your love to my very, very, very good friend, one of my best friends in my whole life, Richard Modiano.
Thank you, S.A. Part of the inspiration for this poem came from Mike Davis's book, The Ecology of Fear. Ashes over angels. The hills are hollow now, charred bones of trees reaching for a sky too weary to rain. Smoke ghosts linger in the canyons, whispering the names of the lost. Homes, memories, the coyote's den, the old woman's rocking chair, the child's red bicycle. Wind kicks up the ash, a reminder that nothing rests, not even ruin. Blackened palms stand like funeral torches. Burnt-out cars glint under an unforgiving sun. A dog howls in the distance, searching for the life that slipped through its paws. The city below still hums, but the air tastes like grief, like scorched earth and broken wings. They call it resilience, this endless reclaiming, this stubborn dance with disaster. But the land remembers, and someday the flames will return, hungry as ever, to finish what they started. Thank you.
This book almost didn't get made, and this is for the people who haven't heard this diatribe already. The fires triggered a very deep trauma from childhood connected to fire and other abuse. And so Kat Georges, who did the incredible layout and design on this, and again, her and Peter are distributing this book. Originally, she and I were going to edit this together. But then because I sat on this for about 2 months, I moved forward without her and ultimately brought Richard in. The point to this is that this becomes part of my healing then to go through this process. One of the things that, and my own community, one of the things that I'm proudest of about this book are the number of teachers we have in this book. Teachers saved my life. The poem saved my life. And I found the poem through my English teacher in the 7th grade. Before that, it was Dr. Seuss, which is, for many of us, the first poet. But, you know, poems like Invictus, If, all those sorts of things really did change my life, especially Invictus. Out of the dark that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. Anyway, so the next person I bring up, she is going to read something by Riot Renwick, sorry, I'm getting upset here, about me. And he's the youngest contributor in the book. I finally got to meet him recently. And he's one of her students, and I've related to Teresa many times now, but over emails I did to some of the other teachers, how deeply important teachers are to me, and Riot is evidence of her work. Ladies and gentlemen, Teresa May Chuc.
Thank you, SA. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, LitFest and the Dena. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Riot didn't come to school yesterday because he was sick, and I got a message from his mom last night that he couldn't make it because he is more sick, so hopefully he'll get better soon. He's in my poetry club at school. Snow born from flames. A soft song fills my ears, and I can see a gentle breeze disturbing the trees. The air in the house is still, not yet having mixed with the wind. I step outside, and as fresh air fills my lungs, an ache of discomfort and a wave of relief overtake me. The bulbs in the paper bags have all sprouted, the leaves yellow from a lack of sunlight. Ash and dirt cover my hands as I bury the paper whites further into the earth. I cover the soil with the leaves and flowers of seasons past, allowing death to pave the way for life. As the sky begins to clear and unseen flames are put to rest, an uneasy peace fills our city as it slowly comes back to life. The ash falling from the sky has begun to settle, creating a thin layer of off-white on everything exposed to the sky. It may be January, but it will never get cold enough for morning frost here. This is the closest we will get to snow in LA. Thank you.
How old was he when he wrote that? 16, 17? When I was that old, I wasn't even in that realm. Unbelievable. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. You know, being on the path, whatever you think the path is. You're often on the path, you think you know where you are, but you really don't know where you are because you don't get there until you get there, and you never get there. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Makes sense to me. And you keep crossing paths with people, and you don't even know that they're there until one day you see them, and you go, oh, you're here, and you've always been here. How come I didn't see you before? And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing when you meet these people that are really the family that have always been there for you, and now they really are here. This next person, only very recently did I really encounter this way. And he really is an amazing guy. One of my favorite things about our relationship is that he keeps sending me poetry, you know, to check out. And dude, you're really writing some incredible stuff. And his poem is the first one in the book because he started sending me poetry. We started writing to each other during the course of the fires. And so his poem is the very first poem in the book. Please show your love for Dig Wayne.
It's wonderful, but like anything could happen. Thank you, I say. Thank you, Richard. Kind of still in the car. Oh, hello. I didn't say anything of value there. I'll just tell you a little something briefly. I wrote this, I got this title because I was watching the news during the fires, and I saw a clip on the news of the wind was blowing about 100 miles an hour, and there was just like embers. So it was like a hurricane of fire. That really struck me. I thought, wow, look at that. So, hurricane of fire. We never learned in school that we are paper, our bodies delicate strips of humanity. We can cry until we're soaked through and through with sorrow, flimsy to the touch, like spitballs on the moon. We prepare ourselves for the unknown by believing everything will be all right. We will be saved. We are good. We are resilient. We will bounce back. There are silos full of gratefulness, gratitude, hope. When we ignore the inconvenience of inconvenience, reality has a way of tipping the balance as a reminder of how little we understand of what exactly we are made: pulp, grizzle, ash, fear, luck, love. The sweet smell of sweaty children all grown up, running toward the future with the deafening sound of tens of thousands of hearts breaking all at once. Thank you.
Dig Wayne. Some people, to speak about myself, think that I'm kind of like Mr. Los Angeles. And I'm honored by that because I was always coming here from the time I was 5 years old. I was coming here. I was going nowhere else. And when I first came here, these other people, specifically actors, would say, I'm going to be here for 5, 10 years. What about you? I go, I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. They're all gone. I'm still here. And I'm honored by that sort of a, how would you say, just honored by such a thing. But the next person really is Mr. Los Angeles, and I know you guys, many of you know him. What are you, third generation Angelino? Yep, third generation Angelino, man. And Mike has done a lot for so many people. He's a teacher. He is a tour guide. He is a spoken word artist. He is a, God, I mean, just go down the list, editorial writer, so many things, but he contributes to so much in this city. He's full of love for everything and for everybody. Please show your love for Mike Sonksen.
Man, I think it's Mr. Griff, actually. How's everybody doing? How are you doing? I have an acrostic titled Fire Ecology, partially inspired by Mike Davis, my former professor in the ecology of fear, but also there's an amazing geographer artist that I would encourage everyone to look up if you get a chance, a dude named Obi Kaufman. He's written 6 books on Heyday Press. His breakout book was called The California Field Atlas, but he always talks about this idea of geographic literacy, otherwise known as bioregionalism. Gary Snyder wrote a lot about it in kind of that Turtle Island, and there's deep ecology and a lot of other threads. And sometimes the same thing is called 5 different things, right? The same idea. But anyway, geographic literacy is something very close to my heart. And we don't know geography like we once did. And these days, we're all looking at the GPS. And it took me several years before I ever did, but I started using it recently only because, if it's going to save me some time in traffic. But, we took pride on knowing the streets and knowing that, Olympic was faster than Wilshire and so on and so forth. And that before the 710, the San Gabriel River is a 605 and the Los Angeles River is a 710 and so on and so forth. But fire ecology. Frequent fires are fueled by dry grasses, ignited by a match, lightning, or accident, reacting to a circular set of relationships evolved over meteorological seasons. Ecosystems housing the wildland-urban interface conflagrate periodically due to climate whiplash. Organisms under this ecological architecture live reciprocally in a wilderness of biodiversity. Our human responsibility is to be more conscious. Geographic literacy honors ecological reality. You cannot deny that the fire was here first.
Mike the Poets. And that being said about getting around LA, north is west and south is east. Took me a long time to get hip to that, man, long time. The next person I'd like to bring up is, I think, one of the most amazing people in Los Angeles. She's an amazing writer with tremendous love and energy, man. She just, one of the brightest lights I've ever met in my whole life. And she, too, is a great light in the community, a poet, a writer. I think you're writing screenplays now. You get around, man, you get around. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love for the wonderful Pam Ward. Yeah, go ahead. Give it up. Pam Ward. Thank you. The next person is a combination of many things, but what he really is, he's kind of a human love machine and a performance artist of the highest caliber who really, and again, a teacher. I mean, I just can't talk enough about teachers, and librarians too, but teachers, because I don't think many of us or any of us would really be here without what teachers give to all of us. They are not paid enough, they're not worshiped enough or respected enough, and they're just not. Anyway, a lot of the people that read here today are going to be at Beyond Broke tonight, and he's the other half of Kathleen right now doing the show tonight. They're producing and directing it. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love, Rich Ferguson.
When crouched down in the hills, surrounded by dried sagebrush and golden wattle trees, this is the story I imagine you tell yourself. You were a colicky baby, breastfed on the Babylonic, your mother a junkie, father absent as the rent that rarely got paid. As a child, you were a scrambled alphabet of loneliness, inner world, a bone ghetto filled with shattered mirrors and unmended fences. As a teen, whenever you stopped your lithium, you were red twitch and phosphor tongue, smooth jazz jammed into a light socket. Then came that night you set a downtown dumpster on fire, the contraction in your chest when I love you was spelled out in smoke. From then on, what held you together, potassium chlorate oxidizer, fuel like sulfur, wooden splint cut from aspen, a binder like glue, creating a head that ignites when struck against a rough surface. As for your head, fire awarded, fire cracked. One way to open pleasure to the light with fire. One way to lessen the pain, burn everything around you. Whenever that irresistible urge tapped into your veins like fuel, you were rocket ready to enact every dangerous desire. Now, crouched down in the hills, surrounded by golden wattle trees and dried sagebrush, adrenaline drag races through your body, runs all stop signs. Fever, fervor, atlas of ignition, Atman of ash. You strike a match. Your fingers bend around the flame, cup it, keep it unmolested from Santa Ana winds. You pledge allegiance to this flicker, its yellow mottled amber seeping into your heart's deepest blue. You tell yourself you are all powerful, all-consuming, that you can level large areas of lush and lavish city to the dust God chokes on.
Rich Ferguson, that alliteration, dude, is perfect. It came trippingly off your tongue, man, as always. Yeah, man, for real. We have one more person, after which we have a little time. We have about, we'll probably have another 15 minutes. If you guys want to open it up, we can talk to each other. You want to ask questions, we can. Again, thank you, Natalie. Is she still here? Natalie? Nope, I don't think she's still here. But thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Russell. Russell, is he still here? There you are, right on. I was looking for you in the back of the house. Thank you so much, Russell. And thank you, everyone, for being here. We lost so much in the fires. We didn't just lose property. We lost lives, but we lost in complete environments, histories, and cultures. We lost so much. And somebody asked when we were at the Altadena Library, how do we move forward? We move forward by talking to each other. We can't recover what was lost. We can only recover one another and move forward as we create a new history together, create new cultures together. Hopefully, I hate to use these words, but just better. Better because we are a community, a better community, and shed some of those things in the past that kind of got in the way. So again, the theme tonight or today being teachers. I'm going to bring back Teresa Chuc. She's going to close us out, and then if you want, we can open it up to a discussion. This poem, I cried over many of the submissions. Sorry. I mean, doing these readings, it's like it keeps, for Pam, the wounds keep getting reopened. And I'm sorry, but, it's anyway. But and this one hit me that way. As I was saying yesterday, sitting at the computer alone at night, in the middle of the night, my wife getting up telling me to come to bed, TV on in the other room, et cetera, et cetera. And so in the course of the process, many of these things hit me really, really hard. This poem is its beauty, its honesty hit me deep. Teresa Chuc.
Thank you, S.A. I really, really appreciate that. It means a lot. My sadness is as great as a mountain, a Haiban. I was a 2-year-old child lost in the seas of the aftermath of war. My family and I, Vietnamese boat refugees who started a new life in Pasadena. Growing up in the City of Roses, I attended Marshall Fundamental Junior-Senior High School and soon found my second home in the stones and stream that flowed through Eaton Canyon, where I learned to balance, jumping from rock to rock up the stream to the waterfall. In these mountains, I learned to fall and to get up again. Learned that sometimes climbing down was more difficult than climbing up because gravity could make you slip. The oak trees and bay laurels wrapped their arms around my sadness, and I felt loved. The deer taught me about the possibilities of life. The canyon gave me a silence that I could not find at home. The bird chirps offered me hope and joy, a counter to my father's PTSD and rage after fighting in the Vietnam War and spending 9 years in a Viet Cong prison. My family and I lost our Vietnamese motherland and so much more. In these mountains, I found my other home. When the fires burned in Altadena in the new year of 2025, my mountain burned down. The trees, trails, and streams that offered me friendship, that strengthened my body, mind, and spirit, not only in childhood, but throughout my life, were engulfed in flames, as was my heart. The black bears, the squirrels, the deer ran frantically. The wings of birds caught on fire. Many friends lost their homes, and many had to evacuate as the fire raced down the mountain. But I know, in time, the mountain will return again, and so will we. Life, like pine cones opening to release seeds after a fire, will grow from the ashes. Indian paintbrush, Mariposa lily, native chia, black sage, fire flowers. My heart, the Santa Ana winds today, branches fall to the ground. Thank you.
So I'll just say a few things and then we'll open up. This book is Artifact. It is our wild history. This is the history that is not told by corporations, by politicians. This is not propaganda. This is our voice. I encourage you all, please use your voice. If you don't use your voice, you don't have a voice. We need to talk to each other. Our narratives are under direct attack. Really, truly, we are in a crisis situation in this country. We need to be heard. Please be heard. And I'll just say, I'm paraphrase Kurt Vonnegut, damn it, we just got to be kind to each other. Again, thank you, LitFest and the Dena. I'm so honored and proud to be here. So anybody have any questions, anything they want to say? Yes, sir. No, man. No. Oh, the pulpit. Oh. All things holy. Everything. The pulpit is wherever you are. Is that right? Am I right? Wherever you stand, that's it. But thank you. That's very kind of you. My own history. That's what I said. It triggered a really, all the trauma of childhood. I had a pretty rugged childhood. World's smallest violin, blah, blah, blah. And the specific incident that it triggered involved fire. Other things, but fire was involved. And I really did go, and I deal with depression all my life. But usually I can kind of read the weather, and I can kind of, get the umbrella out or put on the raincoat or put on the galoshes or, oh, the clouds, here they come, I'll move this way. But this time it snuck up and got me, just like the trauma did of childhood. And so I went into a really deep depression. And I had to struggle through that. And part of what happened was this book, because I was committed to the book. And this became not just a healing for everybody else, hopefully that encounters the book, the people in the book. Ultimately, I did this for me so that I could heal. And I'm still healing. We'll always be healing. There were no real other obstacles. I disagree. I reached out to a lot of people. And I think you know me well enough to know I don't really push too hard. And so there are a lot of people I really wish were in this book. But ultimately, the book is what it's supposed to be. That's the only way you can view things. But there were a lot of people I really wanted to be in this book I reached out to. And either they didn't respond or they responded, I'll get back to you later. I might have hit them again, and they still didn't respond. I let it go. Part of the reason I did that, too, was this. We're dealing with something that we've really never been through in this city. Not really, not this. We've been through other different sorts of things, horrible things. This was an apocalypse. It was a full-blown apocalypse on television, 24 hours a day. We watched 100-mile-per-hour winds eat everything in seconds, getting phone calls, it's gone. The streets full of stopped cars, everything dying. And it was we were in a state of suspense for almost a week, So this was something I didn't want to push too hard because I didn't really know what people went through or why they weren't responding to me really, and I wanted to be kind. So I just let it go. But this book is what it is, and I'm so proud of this book. And hopefully what it's doing. Anyway, I love you too. Yes. I'm sorry? I'm sorry. Yeah, I heard that. His temple burnt down. I don't recall that there's anything in the book that directly speaks to any religious communities, but there are a number of people in the book who lost everything. There are people that came close to losing everything. Pretty much everybody in the book knows, I'm sure they all know somebody who lost everything, people whose lives were lost, et cetera, et cetera. But there's nothing in the book I can think of that directly speaks to a religious, no theology or anything that I can think of, not really. No, I don't think so. I didn't dictate to people what they were going to say to me. That's very important to me, that people tell me what they need to say to me and to everybody else. And so there were a couple of pieces in the book I went, oh, okay. But, you know, you get to say what you want. I put them in the book. You know, I don't have to agree with everything. And that's also something we need to embrace. We have to agree to disagree. We have to. All democratic process depends upon this. All civility depends upon this. All relationships with ourselves and the world depend upon our ability to disagree and move on and move forward together with those disagreements to create something even better. But anyway, that's the best answer I can give to your question. Yep. Can you speak up a little bit, please? Thank you. You know what? Come on up here and talk. Come on up here, so everyone can hear you. Because I think what you're telling us needs to be heard. There you go. Thank you. What's your name? Beverly. Hi, Beverly.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hello. I shouldn't expect this, but I've written some poems, but what I want to say is thank you all. I came here especially today to see Pam Ward because you don't know me and I don't know you, but I've heard about you and I really wanted to hear your reading. So thank you for that. And I wanted to say, my husband and I left Dena in 1998 after living there for 24 years. It's where my sons grew up. And we moved away. But when our house did burn down, I say our house, but we had been gone for 24 years, but it was still like our house because we had so many memories and so many good times there. So when we found out that it was gone, it hurt very. It was as if we're still living there. So anyway, we came by, we saw every house on our little cul-de-sac. There were 6 houses, 5 of them burned, only 1 remained. And it was unbelievable to see the devastation. It was just unbelievable. So I'm just sharing that and saying that I feel for everybody who lost everything, and I know I do an exercise class, and 9 women in my class lost everything. It's unbelievable. The other thing I wanted to say was that when you quoted Invictus, I learned that poem when I was in the 11th grade. We had to memorize a poem for a speech class, and I found Invictus in a little book of verse that I have no idea where I got the book from, but it was only 4 stanzas, and I thought, okay, I can do that. So I memorized it, and when you mentioned it, it's my favorite poem. It's so strong, and it has a wonderful message.
Do you remember it?
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Beverly, that is the poem that saved my life, for real. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. No, that's the poem that really did change my life. It told me that I could be whoever I wanted to. I just had to get up off my ass and start walking. That poem, thank you so much.
Are these books for sale somewhere?
Yeah, well, I think they're for sale up front. And I actually, if they run out up front, I got copies with me. And all the money's being donated. I don't take a penny for any of this. Even the time and the money I invested in the book, I don't take a penny for anything. And we've raised $1,420 so far, already donated to 11 different organizations. In perpetuity, every penny of this book will be donated to support victims of the fire and those people supporting those people. Back here? Yes? Are you considering a second edition? No. Oh, I don't know. I maybe. It depends on how this goes, but I have to talk to Kat about that. That's kind of, I don't necessarily think of those things, but maybe. And maybe we could do an expanded edition with some of those people that I talked about before. Once they see that this thing rocks, they might reconsider and say, yeah, man, let me in. Well, I don't know. Anyway, but possibly. There was somebody over here first. Was there somebody? No? Okay, back there, yeah? Okay, save it for the mic. And your name? What's your name? Diane.
And okay. The young lady, your poem made me cry. It was beautiful. And even though we moved away, across the canyon, and I watched that night as the fire was coming off the mountain, and it was going straight. It was going straight because the wind was so straight. It wasn't going down, it was going straight. And I didn't lose my home. I was only out of my home for 5 days because we were evacuated. But so many of my very best friends have lost their homes. And one 85-year-old walked out with only her keys in her pocket, didn't have her purse, had trouble getting money from the bank after that because she didn't have ID. And so the trauma is like a spider with, or a tree with roots going out. We all hurt for our friends who lost their home. And can I read? It's a Rudyard Kipling's If. This is what my If? Yeah, it's about 3 minutes. Okay. This poem also means a lot. Yeah, and this. You guys are killing me here. This is my. When I was younger and I had problems, my father made me remember this poem. I've forgotten it, but I'd like to read. I read it at his funeral, but it says, "If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, If all men count with you, but none too much. If you can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, or as I say, a woman, my son or daughter. So.
So, are we about done here? So again, be kind to each other, talk to each other, turn off, tune out, drop in. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, LitFest and the Dena.